Teen Titans number 24, written by Scott Lobdell, art by Angel Unzueta. So, who cares about the last issue? But the last thing that happened was in Forever Evil, where the Teen Titans went up against Johnny Quick, and then he messed with Kid Flash enough that they were pulled through time. And that's where we pick up here. So we pick up a couple years ago where Bunker is just getting his powers or just experimenting with them. He's in church praying to God saying like, hey, I got these powers. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm sorry if I'm upsetting you with it. Please just give me a sign. And then all of a sudden behind him, there's a flash of blue light and Red Robin shows up and says, Bunker, what's today? And he gets a lowdown on it. He's like, great, cool. I need you to do me a favor because this is all important to keep the time stream going. You need to go and hop on this train and you'll eventually meet back up with me, but don't ever tell me that I told you to go onto that train. Okay? I'll explain it all then. And then he phases back out through time and Bunker's like, all right, guess I'll do that then. Then we go to ancient Egypt and there is an army of aliens called the Sunturians that have literal tanks, and they say, we are going to take over this planet. Tomorrow the rivers will bleed as red as our sun. And we see a shadowy figure looking at his watch saying they'll get here in 3, 2, and then all of a sudden crashing down into the army is Wonder Girl and Superboy. And it's like, okay, well, I recognize this place. This is ancient Egypt because Wonder Girl's mom was an archaeologist. And she's like, but they didn't say nothing about an alien invasion. And then the shadowy figure comes out and says, hey guys, I've been here for a while now. It's me, Red Robin. You guys need to fight him off and you got to do so in the next 13 minutes, okay? And then Red Robin phases out of time again. And so Superboy and Wonder Girl beat up the army. And then we get the whole layout page. And it turns out that the whole of the Titans are now just kind of bouncing around space. And they don't know how long they're going to be in a specific location. They don't know like where they're going to end up, but they just keep on showing up in places and they have to just make it work. So we cut to a spaceship in the future and Kid Flash and Solstice show up and Kid Flash is like, Solstice, stay here. I recognize this ship. No, I don't. Bye. And he runs off and we see he makes his way down and runs into his past self. And he recounts how he's been getting these memories, these flashes of what his life was like before he came to our present. And he realizes this is it. This is the moment everything changes. So he goes down and he talks to himself. And it turns out that he is part of like a rebellion force against some invading army or something that is making its way to the outer colonies. And he's like, if the reinforcements arrive, it'll kill us all. I'm going to kill them first. And Kid Flash is like, you can't. If you do, you're going to lose everything, including her. And Kid Flash is like, Bart is like, what do you mean her? And Kid Flash is like, She-Ra. Who's She-Ra? Who knows? Regardless, he basically begs them saying, don't do this. Don't kill them. You got to be better than them. And Bart just says, I am better than them. That's why I'm killing them. I'm going to liberate a galaxy. So Raven appears in old medieval times and fights against Etrigan because Etrigan's like, I sent your Trigon spawn. I will kill you. Haha. And Raven's like, pshaw. And then Wonder Girl gets involved because she's around as well. And Wonder Girl then spells it out for Raven of exactly what needs to happen here. And we see that they are bouncing around time, as I said, sometimes individually, sometimes as groups, sometimes for a day, sometimes for years. But they have to do whatever they need to do there, and then suddenly they disappear. Red Robin is able to figure out when the bounces are going to happen, and his goal is to slow it down and make it so they stop bouncing. And so he keeps on trying to tag his fellow teammates to stop them from bouncing as well. But he believes that the key to all of it is Raven, because Raven existed in another dimension outside of time. She is uniquely able to manipulate the time stream. So she needs to use her demonic powers to basically claim the souls of each of the Teen Titans so that she always has a connection and can feel them throughout time and space. So Wonder Girl is saying to do all of that, and then Red Robin will be able to fix it. And as he's going through the time stream again, Raven says, "At last, Father, they offer up their souls willingly. According to plan, will you please let me come home now?" So, yeah, there's an annual. We got an annual coming up that's going to apparently explain this, and then we're just going to be done with it. Like it's just a one issue, one and done thing. I have never been so pissed off at a time travel story. I love time travel stories. Like they're my favorite because there's so much possibility that you can do with them, especially in something as much as the DC universe. But they have already set up this idea in not only this book, but in the Forever Evil that it spun off from, that the whole point of it was Kid Flash was pulled back into the future. They set that up. They've been doing that for 20 issues now. But first we have to do this annual where they're bouncing around the time stream. Like, why? Why is that necessary? That's so stupidly complicated for no reason. The fact that we needed an entire issue before we even got to the annual just to explain why this is a thing, which they barely even do, it's complicated for no reason. Much like every other one of Scott Lobdell's books. I'm going to give this like a 2.5. And it's not because I think that any particular part of it is like that abysmally awful. It's because this book is the definition of unnecessary. There is no reason that you should ever need to find, read, or take this book at all. And the annual's coming out like next week as of this issue coming out. I doubt that one will be required either. It just feels like this is padding because we were always going to wait until issue 25 to start the trial of the Kid Flash in the future. And I know that because it's the name of the goddamn trade. 2.5. Do not recommend.